the media was saying how bad it was going to be, and I'm thinking, well, that room upstairs is quite high, but I didn't even think it'd come over the deck, so a flood is such an unknown, and yeah, it was a bit scary trying to call them. Couldn't get through because he'd be down here lifting something, and so then I'd call the instructor that stayed here with him and say, you just make sure he does nothing silly.
You could see everything that was happening, everything that was floating by. Things from multi-million-dollar yachts just floating down the river, whole pontoons. We saw things like cows, water tanks, bins, so many bins.
It's taken well over a year for me to print out the photographs and put them up, and not because people weren't interested in it, because it was fascinating to people, but it was too painful. It was too painful to remember those times and to think of your business being in such a mess. Initially, when I came up with the Riverlife concept, it was all about using the river and the cliffs for leisure, using the bikeways along the edge of the river, using the parkland down here for recreational purposes, which combine things like getting out and having an adventure or doing an activity and coming back and having a barbecue or an evening meal and a couple of drinks and just basically enjoying the Brisbane lifestyle. I love the variety here, being able to jump on a paddleboard in the morning, go rock climbing, celebrate someone's wedding in the evening. There's so many facets to the business. Being a small business, it's very, very difficult to be fully prepared for the worst case scenario. So what we did is we tried to do things bit by bit. Take care of the large things, the external forces, so make sure that barriers were collapsed, allowing debris to come through. Then we watched the floodwaters rise and we reacted as the floodwaters came up.
So the floodwater didn't get much higher than this at all. You can see how we've dropped the end of the marquees to allow the debris to flow through.
There was people walking past just wanting to look and what's happening. And they came in and said, oh, hi, can we help? And I'm like, yes. And so they got all the cutlery upstairs and all the crockery because that stuff weighs a tonne.
We did lose this pontoon down here. Just popped straight over the top of the piles, then broke away. So the walkway fell into the water, the pontoon broke away and started floating out to sea.
Morning on the day after, and John and Clint both just like covered in mud, just looking a little tired, but just grins from ear to ear, and working just so hard. I got down here pretty early, and they were just flat out already. And I looked at the place and thought, how are we going to fix it up again?
One thing that I think will never leave me is the smell of the mud.
Yeah.
It was just incredible, and it hung around for weeks.
I wasn't shocked. I don't think I was sad. I was just like, yep, let's get in there. Give me a hose, give me a gurney. The kids and I just getting in there, people turning up. It was just so positive.
People that might never have met before, and then you'd see them all day working together on different projects, and they'd move around the place.
The flood cost us around about $100,000 all up. There was also loss in income, and that happened right throughout the summer. We do pay a lot of money in insurance each year, and we thought we were covered by our business interruption policy, but the insurance companies didn't pay us anything.
We certainly got the place cleaned in 5 days, and we were ready to accept customers back. And then, of course, it was difficult for customers to get here, but also customers didn't want to be here. The river was now a villain.
It wasn't, I suppose, till about 2 months after the flood that I really started to get a little bit worried.
If people stopped coming here and our business suffered, then how could I retain my staff? We got together as a team and started putting together strategies that would encourage people to come back down and taking up our offering again.
We started a couple of smaller campaigns whereby we would give away free of charge adventures for people who were affected by the floods. We ended up putting together a wedding to the value of $56,000, and that wedding was given to a deserving couple who had lost everything in the floods. We thought in turn what that may do is it may show people that Riverlife was back in business, and if you wanted to, you could get married down here.
We increased our budgets on marketing and we employed some new people with new ideas. And I suppose there was also a lot of media about at the time, so we used that as much as we possibly could.
We used social media to our advantages, and we just started to communicate with people better. We stopped relying upon our own business to continue to go along and generate business for itself. We really had to go out there and do some new things.
We did some rearranging of the facility itself. We've rebranded and relaunched a new logo, putting new signage up.
When you have to take everything out of a building, you can go, wow, how are we going to put it all back in?
It's probably stimulated a little bit of growth in our business because I'm now starting to use those same strategies that I engaged after the flood. I'm just now using them in business in general.
It's given us the opportunity to look at things in a different way and look at how lucky we are and how resilient we can be.
What we witnessed down here was people who had to jump over barriers and walk for 500 metres through mud just to get to us, just to help us out. And for me, that was a changing moment in my life. To see this generosity be given to me, my business, my staff, through their families, their friends, and through people who didn't even know us. It was amazing. It was amazing, something I'll never forget. I'll just absolutely never forget it for the rest of my life.